Hello, D&D fans, and welcome to episode 4 of Holy Rollerz, a 4.5 edition clerical D&D game where each of the characters can channel divinity and occasionally an inappropriate gesture. And jester, that too.
Or jester, we could do both.
Yeah, it's going to be a great night tonight, I can tell. We have a lot to talk about tonight and a great show for you. But first, we're going to start with a little announcement. We will be without JT tonight. He is off fighting crime. I can't tell you what city, but he's fighting
very under wraps
on the streets in the evening.
In Spelex.
Yeah, I didn't say that. There's no, yeah. Anyway, so he won't be with us. Either that or he's on a hunting trip. One of the two. I don't know. Not really sure. So, yeah, take your pick. In fact, you decide. Yeah, put it in the subreddit. Where is JT? The best answer. Anyway. Also, we want to announce a really exciting giveaway that we're going to be having. So if you haven't seen it yet, we got these really awesome dice cases. Are the one who makes it, he calls them dice vaults. And Jeffrey, what's the company again? It's
Sorry.
It's JBG Garage Crafts.
Yes, JBG Garage Crafts. So
thank you, not Jeff.
Yes, thank you, Ryan.
I have
Jeffrey,
the paper right here, but it's not here right now.
So he makes these lovely dice vaults, and he is going to do a giveaway with Holy Rollerz. So when we get to 50 YouTube subscribers or 50 subscribers on the subreddit, we will go ahead and raffle off one or more of these dice vaults. And we would love to give those away to you. So go ahead and subscribe. If
push the buttons, pretty please.
Yeah, push the buttons, pretty please, and all that good stuff. And there you go. So anyway, it'll be great. And now for a bit of lore. At the height of the Dawn War, the gods signed a compact with Asmodeus, the god of sin, that he would punish their damned in order to motivate mortals to worship the gods. This agreement was called the Pact Diabolus, and the Forgotten Gods, or Forces, creators of Ienia, didn't sign it. As both primordial and deity, the Forces had much less need for divine worship to sustain them, and they set mortals on a journey of spiritual progression through a cycle of continual rebirth. The Forces created their own prison for the damned within the Far Realm, called the Magra Marosh, or Death of Rebirth, where the condemned were doomed to eternal madness and torment. As a result, the Hells have never had much influence on Ienia, nor have any cults dedicated to the archdevils or Asmodeus ever gained a noteworthy foothold in the world. With the coming of the outer gods and the return of the elder gods, souls find their way to the realm that best matches their alignment, supposedly. And now we will go ahead and launch into our bios. We'll probably do this just one more time before we let you stay on that and call it good. But we will launch into bios tonight so you can get to know the party, starting with Jesse. You ready, Jesse?
Yes, I will try not to speed read through this and probably fail.
That's okay.
Born in the Arcantor Highlands, Kaylin was cherished by her mother but scorned by her chieftain father. After spending her youth in the wilderness learning swordcraft and more, Kaylin's safe world ended when she was sold into marriage to maintain peace with a rival clan. At the wedding ceremony, her rage triggered psionic powers, turning the ritual into a war zone. After being knocked unconscious and tied to a stake, Kaylin feared being burned as a witch. However, a radiant golden light burned her ropes away and guided her to a ship. Fleeing her home, Kaylin met Sister Victoria, a cleric of Vahara who rescued her. Now an ordained priestess, Kaylin is hoping her pilgrimage to Vahara's temple will bring her insights into her future.
And Ryan?
Well, one note there. The word ropes sounded a little like robes. Vahara did not burn away Kaylin's robes.
She wasn't anywhere.
Were you there? You weren't there. You don't
no
know
nudity.
You don't know how it
This is
went
a family-friendly game 99% of the time.
So she ran away nude. Okay, got it. All right.
Good night, everybody. Okay.
The son of a famous actress and a wandering priest of Sindel, the goddess of love, Lachlan Delay was raised among the upper echelon of Talispoon's artistic elite. Trained in the bardic arts by the finest tutors, Lachlan grew bored with his famous mother's social circle, and yearning to learn more of his father, he began to visit Sindel's temple in Talispoon, called the House of Repose. It was there that Lachlan found his true calling and embraced the path of the Paladin. Now Lachlan dreams of traveling to the Ardari Republic and joining the Heartseekers. an elite order of knights who serve Sindel and travel the land fighting to preserve beauty and love. In this way, Lachlan hopes to better understand his father and who Sindel expects him to become.
And Jeffrey.
Yeah, the Heartseekers probably go around killing witches.
Right, it's the night to comment on bios. Already have at it. That's
all right. Gizik was the son of the witch Elspeth and a long-forgotten ogre, whom she likely devoured. His mother, who had always wanted a daughter, cruelly rejected her son and treated him like a servant. Although his mother never taught him any magic, Gizik was able to watch Elspeth practice her dark arts and learn some magic of his own. One night, a band of roving knights, probably the Heartseekers, came and slew the witch Elspeth and burned her corpse and house. Gizik escaped and was reveling in his newfound freedom when the goddess Sigrun spoke to him and gave him new orders.
And those orders were not to bathe, clearly. But anyway, I will go ahead and read JT's now. When a kindly priest of Bestera, goddess of healing and protection, rescued an orphan child, he strongly suspected the boy possessed celestial blood. Father Garin named the child Michael and hoped that he would follow in his footsteps and join the clergy. But fate took a cruel turn. In the very chapel he grew up in, a dark figure descended upon the young man, sinking sharp fangs into his neck. The man awoke with the bloodthirst, and the very shadows themselves came alive and spoke to him. They called him to the service of the god of night, or the death god, and revealed the true nature of his divine blood. The shadows named him Anduriel. Any comments?
All right, before we get started, who's on Twitch currently?
I am currently on Twitch. Anybody else currently on Twitch?
I am.
All right, so we have 3 viewers. Sweet.
Okay.
I like to watch the chat.
3 viewers. We are looking at chat intermittently, and whoever you are, we love you. So thank you for watching. Okay, so now a short recap. Last time on Holy Rollerz, the party explored the defiled church of Bestera, where they discovered a man seemingly trapped in a mirror in the living quarters behind the chapel. The regal-looking man said his name was Deferzarak and claimed to be a knight cleric of the High One, a new demi-power in the service of the goddess Bestera. Deferzarak said that Brother Mazamar had tricked him into the mirror and didn't know how long he could survive in the realm on the other side, a strange-looking garden with a dark tower in the distance. Lachlan detected that Deferzarak was hiding something and covered the mirror. A further search by Kalen revealed a reading room with theoretical books on planar crossings and the nature of the hells. A crash was heard in the back room, and the party watched as Deferzarak was sucked into the mirror, and a glass construct with his face on each facet was ejected. This act seemed to agitate the weeping ghosts in the chapel into attacking, and simultaneously the 2 farmers in the chapel near death, Lars and Louisa, took on demonic forms and attacked. Calling on Sigrun's power over souls, Gizik channeled divinity to drive out the possessing force, and together with Kalen's healing lore, saved Lars's life. The grateful townsfolk put the party up in the Blessed Lady Inn and promised a breakfast feast, after which Irma tells them that the village council wishes to reward them. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we will pick up. So sometime during the festivities or during the round of drinking, Anduriel disappeared, not to be seen, having a talent for the unobtrusive or shadowy arts. In some ways, he was able to somehow vanish without anybody noticing. I wouldn't assume that he turned into a bat or a rat because that's racist. Don't stereotype. So anyway, now we begin the next morning. It was an interesting evening. They put us up in the Blessed Lady Inn. And the next morning, Gizik, you are up and you are relieving yourself in the water closet.
Well, at least he's in the water closet. This
Yes.
is good.
Or at least I think
It
it's
is.
a
House
water
trained.
closet. Yeah.
Well, you were peeing in the hallway when someone stopped. Anyway, this
It's
is
the water
rather-
closet now.
It's okay. The whole hallway.
Thank God, I love it.
So in any case, you probably were directed to the water closet as part of your welcome to the inn, to the Blessed Lady Inn. And so you are there relieving yourself, and it's quite the luxury. You're very unused to this. It's much more spacious a bathroom than you're used to, except it's not outside. So you're kind of unsure about that. Also, There's a table with a wash basin. There's soap that's shaped like little shields, and there's even toilet paper, which, you know, you're just kind of like, well, what do I do with that?
This.
Yeah. So, well, no, I'm sure he's stolen toilet paper before.
Where are the leaves at?
Yeah, well, apparently, you figure out pretty quickly, but it's a luxury that you're not accustomed to. So you're in the bathroom, Gizik, when you notice that you are having what could be defined as a really long pee, you know? It's going for quite some time. And that is when something very disturbing happens. You keep peeing and peeing and peeing, and all of a sudden the urine in the chamber pot begins to swish around and it starts to bubble like it's boiling.
Can I just say, only in our game would episode 4 start with peeing?
I'm sure there are other games where it's happened, but now it's not long, Gizik, before you look down and you're finally able to stop peeing, and you see Sigrun's face appears in the urine.
Evacuation complete.
Okay. Achievement earned. I'm not sure what that achievement is called. Go ahead. Why don't you put that in the comments if you're watching this episode of Holy Rollers? What is this achievement
World's
called?
longest leak.
Divine your. Anyway, moving on. She speaks to you in a fairly loud voice, Gizik, that kind of echoes throughout the water closet. And she says, "Behold thy goddess, Gimwick. You may now praise me. Go on."
You're made out of pee?
I'm not made out of pee, you impudent heap of troll dung. You miserable, festing, limp-loined buffoon. I'm your goddess. Praise me.
Oh, terrible goddess. Why are you down there?
I'm not down there. I'm appearing here. Anyway, she scowls at you, and then she says, "I would speak with thee. This is as good a means as any. Now, tell me, what didst thou observe in the chapel? What afflicted the simpletons?"
Besides me, there were some demons taking over them, and they were sick somehow, poison or something.
Okay, she looks at you, and she furrows her eyebrows, and she says, "They're not demons, but go on. What did they have in common? All three of them." Think, you festering maggot sandwich.
They had wings.
The ghost woman did not have wings.
Oh, by three, I was thinking.
What is its actual intelligence? Just
Mirror,
curious.
oh, actual intelligence? 10.
All right.
So, you know, slightly above average. Not bad.
Yeah, actually, you're exactly average, but that's okay. All right, Gizik, make an intelligence check to see if you're able to discern what it is she's trying to point your attention to. You will need a 12. You can add half your level and your modifier, which is nothing. So you have a total of +1.
So I rolled a 7.
Okay, an 8. So
no, 7. I already added the +1.
Oh, lovely. Okay. So with a mighty 7, Gizik, you're not sure what she wants to hear. What do you say?
I really wish this was a toilet so you could just flush and walk out.
I think that's what he said.
They were in the chapel, okay? They were all there.
In the chapel? That's the best you can do? And she says, she looks at you and she casts Bewitch on you again.
They smelled bad?
They smelled bad.
Which again, coming from you is quite the statement.
Yeah. Okay, Gizik, what is your will?
16.
Okay, so she got a 20, so she's good.
Ooh.
So she points to you like this, like, ugh. She points a claw at you, and then she goes, ugh. And your face starts getting pulled down to the pee. Like,
No.
And it's still bubbling and boiling, I might add. So bits of it are kind of, you're like, ugh. And she's
the grossest introduction ever.
She's got a kind of really like delicious, like she's really enjoying it, but she's irritated with you all at once. And she says, "Souls, you fool, souls." And then she gets this like wild, hungry eye in her look, and she says, or in her face, and she says, "The transition of souls is my province." She says, "I command thee to stay with the bard and the mentalist and uncover the workings behind these blasphemies of the soul. 'Tis rampant across this entire nation, and I will have the truth. And then I will punish those who would dare cross my domain." Any response?
I have to stay with them again?
That's right. Until you find out everything I want to know and you put a stop to it. And also, I want you to raise a temple in every one of the cities and towns in this country. That should take you a while. And she said, "Now, tell me, I felt thee call upon my power in battle. Didst thou savor such power to wound thy enemy's very soul?"
It was really nice.
What's Gizik's charisma?
Really nice. Charisma, 14.
Oh, God,
Okay.
it's so much better than mine.
I can be the face of the party.
All right. So she looks up at you and she says, "There are even greater rewards that await thee. Thy mother, not every bit of her magic has been wiped from this land. Do my bidding, and mayhap I shall guide thee to another remnant of it. Refuse me, and horrible fates will befall thee. I'll make thee a halfling's midwife. I'll set thy teeth to crumble to pieces. Thy bowels will burn like the hottest peppers night and day, and thy minivan's tires will flatten on highways forevermore."
What's a minivan?
All right. She says,
Thank you.
All right. The water starts moving kind of in a circle. Okay. Mm-hmm. And she says, "Heed my words." And then, boom! The chamber pot explodes, and urine and everywhere, and whatever else you did in there is covered all over the room.
Oh, what a horrible old thing. I never want to see her again.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll get away with that one. So anyway, yeah, Gizik, you're covered, and looks like you broke the chamber pot. So
I'm gonna go give somebody a hug now.
Oh, God, not me, not it.
Not it. Okay. I don't think it works that way, Jess. Okay. Alrighty. So very good. The next morning, you guys wake up, and who do you think wakes up first? How early do you want to get up? I always pictured Lachlan as the kind to sleep in, but you tell me.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I was just gonna see, did he get some action last night? Is he alone, or
does he have a companion?
Well,
because I did have a dinner date.
If he was looking to his dinner date, then he may not even be waking up in the inn.
Yeah, well, I was hoping to be. I think I'd be more comfortable with her entertainment than just at some scrubby old inn.
Okay.
Well, so was that farmer we rescued?
Lars, yeah. Lars is still in a room in the Blessed Lady Inn. You and Kaylin have treated him, but he's progressing incredibly, largely because you produced a potion that was magical and it helped purge the poison from his body. So that with Kaylin's herbs, Lars is feeling pretty amazing. So Lachlan, do I understand that you brought her back to the hotel, to the Blessed Lady Inn? Did you bring her back to your room?
Well, I stayed overnight at her place.
Okay. Well, if that's up to you, you tell me what you did. If you want to stay the night at her place, Everine Monteplay is more than willing to play.
Yeah. That's
Make
probably
a swanning entrance back into the inn.
Okay. Are you going to do the walk of shame back into the inn, Lachlan, or are you going to sleep late?
Oh, sleep late. Absolutely.
Okay. Now,
I want to get breakfast out of this too.
Oh, if you want, keep in mind that they offered to do a breakfast feast to celebrate your victory in the next morning.
No, from Lady Everdeen.
Okay. All right. So you wake up the next morning, Lachlan, late, and she actually wakes you up. She brings in a fresh cup of coffee. Sometime in the morning, she's completely redone her makeup, and she's changed her clothes, and she's wearing a beautiful, like evening gown. Well, not the same one.
Well, day gown.
Day gown. Well, I mean, it's the kind you wear in the evening, but she switched it in the middle of the night, so who knows what happened. But she's putting on her best, and she wakes you up, and she's, "Good morning, sunshine." And then she whispers some vomitous little epithet at you. And then she starts making small talk, but I'd like you to make an insight check to see how well you can read her.
I just got very good at everything. So.
Yes, you did.
22.
We leveled up.
Okay. You can tell she is just about ready to come out of her skin. There's something that she wants to ask you. And she's kind of like.
Okay. I say, "What is it, my lady?"
All right. You call it my lady, and she goes, "That's going to take some getting used to." And then she tells you that she's wondering how long before you two should announce your engagement.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
He says, "Unfortunately, I have a long career, and part of my vow includes never settling down."
Okay.
I was going to say, you better not say celibacy, or I'm going to.
Okay.
Part of my work involves spreading love across the globe.
Okay.
You can only be married to Sendell.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Okay. That's actually not a tenet of the church.
Oh, I know.
But
You don't know that.
Yeah. Well, apparently it depends on which branch of the church. But that being said, all right. So you're like, "Unfortunately, my calling." All right. So she looks at you and she's like, "But we," and she points to the bed.
Says yes, and it was divine, and there's no reason we can't have a repeat on whenever I'm in town. But
A repeat. All right. She goes, "Repeat this." And she hucks a big plate of eggs in your face. You are dripping and covered with eggs. And she goes, "Get out." And she picks up a pot with a vase of flowers, and she goes to attack you. And what's your armor class with no armor on, Lachlan?
Let's see. It is a 14.
All right, I rolled a natural 16. You take 2 points of damage as this pot of flowers collides with your head. Smash! She goes, "Get out! Get out this instant!" And she goes and she's looking for something else to throw. And you don't need to make an insight check.
Well, I want to try and smooth things over. Can I attempt some diplomacy here?
You can try, yeah.
I want to say, please. I understand that why you would be upset, but
Zoltar in the chat says, "I get the feeling next episode might include a shotgun wizard staff wedding."
That would kind of be hilarious.
All right, is that all you're gonna say?
I understand you might be upset, but just because I can't be monogamous does not mean that we need to throw away this great experience that we've shared.
Just run for the window, dude. Just run for the window.
She looks at you and she goes, "You have monogamous? Am I gonna get it now?"
He says, "No, I mean that even though we can't pledge ourselves to each other solely, doesn't mean that we have to just forget about what happened and celebrate that."
Make a diplomacy check with disadvantage. You got to roll twice.
I rolled a 10 and a 16, so 10 plus I have a 9, so 19.
19?
I told you I'm good.
Okay. She chucks a I don't know. Let's see. She chucks an
Hairbrush.
umbrella stand at you, and it flies past you and misses. And she goes, "You get out of my house this instant and go out the back door."
All right. Well, he'll go. He's going to take his sweet time, but he'll go.
Okay. How sweet of time are you going to take?
Oh, he's not going to run. I mean, he's not going to, like, be mean about it.
Okay. She runs to the kitchen.
You might want to walk a little faster.
I'm sure he has a lot of experience with the situation. He knows what's coming next.
She is on her way to the kitchen. The back door of her home is in the opposite direction, but it's up to you.
She's looking for sharp, pointy objects.
Yeah, I'll send her a note. I'll take off and send her a nice love letter sometime.
Okay. All right. So you get out the door and she's screeching at you, but she's also trying not to be too loud because,
Neighbors.
The neighbors will talk, So anyway, she doesn't have neighbors that are too close by. Her home is not, it's on a bit of a rise. And so it's not like she has somebody, right next door the way she would in a suburb. But she's got neighbors and she wants you out, and objects go flying out of the kitchen. Then she comes back with a rolling pin of some kind, and that's your last image of her, running at the door with a rolling pin as you walk out. So there you have it. And all right.
He prays for her.
Oh, that's so noble of him.
Oh my God.
All right. He prays for her. And
he asks Sindel to bless her with a tender heart, and that she'll find someone to love.
Okay. Again. Okay. So moving on. Alrighty. Kaylin. So you wake up. What time do you wake up? Lachlan sleeps until about 10ish. What time do you wake up?
Probably about 9. Let's say 9.
About 9 o'clock? All right. Yeah. Kaylin, you get up and you hear this loud boom from the water closet down the hall as you come out of your room. And then you hear Gizik growling.
She goes in the opposite direction of that noise.
Okay. All right. The opposite direction of the water closet would be down the hallway to the common room of the inn.
Okay. Has she checked on Lars at all this morning?
Not yet.
Okay. Which direction is he in?
He's right down the hallway in the room just before you get down to the common room.
Okay. She wants to go and check on Lars first.
Okay.
And then she'll go see about breakfast.
All right. You're going to go check on Lars?
Yes, please.
All right. How detailed a check are you wanting to perform? You're going to test his temperature the old-fashioned way? I mean, how far does it go?
Well, my thing is I kind of imagine that she was checking on him on and off throughout the night and seeing if his fever broke or rose or seeing how the potions and whatnot work for him.
All right, make a heal check. Let's see what you're able to discern.
Okay. I have all 3 of my D20s today, too, so yay! Oh! Do I have any buffs on that, or is it just the natural roll?
Of course you have buffs on that. You're trained.
But I can't. My nature is +1, isn't it?
You're trained in heal. Bringing up your character.
Okay, so I got 9, so not very good.
A 9 total? Okay.
Yeah.
So with a 9, you're looking at him, and whereas in the panic of the moment, a lot of your healing lore that your mother taught you came back to you. Now that you're kind of checking on him the next day, you're just not able to recall those lessons.
You're kind of tired and grumpy and
What do you do the second day? I mean, is that where you get the leeches? I'm not sure. So you're just a little bit unsure. But what you can tell is that his fever has definitely broken. It did break sometime in the night when you checked on him. And you also noticed that his coloring is better. While he was sickly purple green, now you see that he's got a normal pallor to him. You do also
awake, or is he sleeping?
He is fast asleep and he is sawing logs. He's very deep.
That's probably good.
So yeah, he's way out of it. He's not going to wake up anytime soon. But that's really all you can tell. You can't really tell how he's mending other than his color's improved. So
okay,
and he has no fever, which is good.
Because where is it? It's his leg that was most wounded? Yes.
His leg? No.
Yeah.
He had a few wounds all over his body from when he got. But no, it was just kind of a rot all over his body. So,
Okay. So she wouldn't have to check like a specific location. It's just kind of a general.
nope. Well, and with a 9, you wouldn't even think to check which location.
Okay.
Unless you want to check his temperature the old-fashioned way. We can role play that if you'd like.
No,
It's up to you.
she does not.
Okay, all right. Then we will move on. All right, so Kaylin, you come downstairs and you find that Irma Darkanel, the 70-year-old lady with the snowy white mane of hair, no nonsense attitude, is there sipping on a cup of tea, and she's sewing, working on some kind of a dress made of red cloth. So she's sewing, and she sees you come down the stairs, and she says, "Oh, yon lass awakens. Welcome. Come down. Have a cup of tea."
Thank you. I will. Good morning, Mom.
Okay. And she says, "And good morning. How did you sleep, dear? I hope Lars didn't keep you awake."
Nope. I'm glad to see that he was resting.
Lovely. And how is he doing?
Well, I admit my brain is a little fuzzy this morning after all the events of yesterday, but he appears to be doing quite well.
Oh, that's nice. Someone will have to break the news of Louisa to him, but I don't know that today is the best day to do that. We should let him rest.
Not.
Maybe wait until he asks. That might be the kindest thing to do.
Has anyone been to the church and been able to rescue perhaps the remains for burial?
She says, "Oh, yes. We're a town of early risers." And she says, and indeed, there were a number of people who were up in the morning in order to make sure that the church was cleaned. And the undertaker went in, and he also took the bodies away, and he's prepared them for burial. Of course, we can't do the burial, dear, not until we have another priest.
Right.
She says, unless you wanted to perform the rites.
Oh. I mean, I could, but I'm not very well trained, and I'm sure you would much rather have a priest in permanent place than a random stranger.
Okay. You do, Kaylin, you do know rites for the dead.
Do I really?
Yeah, you do. And even if you didn't remember them, they would be in the Book of Twinned Glories. So you could always look them up. So you do know rites for the dead. Lachlan, you also know rites for the dead. If it comes up to it. Gizik, you don't know.
I can make something up.
Yeah, Gizik.
Gizik is like, I can bury people. I'm good at making holes and killing people. What more do you want?
Yeah, I cannot promise that they will appreciate the rites, but I can make something up.
Yes, yeah. So, Gizik, you know absolutely nothing. Sigrun doesn't have much of a church to speak with. Most of her rites involve sacrificing pixies in order to temporarily fly and things like that. So there's not as much as we. So anyway, but she says he was a member of the church, don't you know, my dear? And so it might be better to let and wait until we have word from the priest. She says, someone does need to go to the next town, to Winter Run, dear. That's the closest town to the northeast. And she says, but that being said, someone will have to tell the priest there so they can contact the church and send our new priest to us. But I'd be willing to let you do it, dear. I'm not as hidebound as so many others in this town.
You know, perchance, how many days of travel it is between here and there.
To Winter Run?
Yes, ma'am.
She says, oh, it's good 5 days, I would imagine. Good 5 days along the Republic Highway. That'll get you there. If you have a horse, you can get there a wee bit faster. Maybe cut the journey down to 2, maybe 3.
I don't currently have a horse in my ownership. Don't suppose you have a stables in town?
She says, we do. Wesley Arvenel, dear. He's our Wainwright, and he also owns the stables, but I don't think he currently has any horses for sale. The merchant, she says, the merchant route to River Run's already been made for the year, dear. He wouldn't have any stock to sell. We could maybe loan you a horse, but I wouldn't know. He's a stingy sort, dear, just so you know. And then she does the, ooh, and then
yes, the waggle.
She launches into this long story about how, she thinks he cheated some farmer couple out of their draft horse, and she went to the priest, and Father what's his bucket was, he wouldn't side with her, and she was grouchy, and it was this whole thing, and they were not talking until she baked him a pie, and then Nellie Olson came down and anyway. So she launches.
Just gonna gently interrupt her, and you go, is there anything I can do for you? I'd like to go to the church.
Oh,
how things are going.
She says, oh yes, dear. The town council wishes to meet with you all. Whenever you feasted, Bam said that he'd put out a lovely feast for you. And he is quite the good cook, dear, don't you know?
He is. He makes a mean biscuits and gravy.
It's delicious. And she says, but whenever you all want to come over to the chapel, the town council would like to meet with you. All 5 of us. It should be quite the to-do. They want to reward you, dear. Has the bard awakened yet?
I'll have to go knock on his door and see if the bard is within his quarters.
And what about the other pretty one and the not so pretty one?
The pretty one I've not conferred with yet this morning. And the other gentleman, Gizik, I have also not conferred with this morning yet. I've not gathered with my companions yet this morning.
Oh, wait, so Anduriel's the pretty one then?
Well, Anduriel's...
I was thinking he's the not so pretty one.
She said the bard and the other pretty one. So he's probably the other pretty one. And then she says, you say that, and she says, Gizik. Doesn't roll off the tongue, does it, dear?
I always want to call him Gizzy.
Okay. Well, I'm sure he wouldn't mind. And she pats your hand. Okay.
And Kaylin's thinking, I strongly doubt that.
Yeah. So anyway, she tells you that the town council will assemble in about an hour. Now that you're awake at about 11 o'clock on the hour, they'll ring the church bell. And if you'd come when they ring the church bell, that they'd love to meet you in the chapel. They have a reward for you. So,
well, it would be my pleasure to join you.
Okay. Alrighty. So that would be that. So will you all head over there, Kaylin? You gonna go tell everyone? What's the plan?
I will go knock on the gentlemen's doors and see who are in their quarters and who are not.
Okay, there's no response on Lachlan's door. He doesn't appear to be there.
She's just like, he's a bard. He's probably not there.
Yeah. Well, and then Gizik is you probably come up the hallway upstairs to find Gizik dripping with his own urine in the hall.
She's just like, do you know how a water closet works?
What does he say?
Of course I do.
We're due at the chapel. You may want to go hose off before we head in that direction. Just,
I think I've had enough hosing off.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Kaylin, if you thought he smelled bad before, he just reeks now. You wish you had thaumaturgy so that you could just,
She's like muttering to herself, there's not enough rose petals in the world for that.
Okay. Alrighty. Lachlan, I'm assuming head into town?
Oh, yeah. I'll go back to the inn.
Okay. So you head back to the inn, and Kaylin, you inform them that they're wanted at the chapel?
Yes.
Okay.
Are we sitting eating breakfast together?
Oh, yeah. Bam will put out a glorious spread for you. I mean, he puts out, under the mom finger, possibly, or the grandma finger, he puts out biscuits and gravy. He puts out sausages. He fries up eggs for you. He brings out steak. I mean, it's a feast, Kaylin, that almost shames you a little bit because, I mean, this is the kind of thing that's rarely seen amongst the clans. Like this kind of, this kind of eating is really, really extravagant.
She's got like a little mini smorgasbord on her plate because she wants to try a little of everything. Because I don't know when's the last time the poor girl ate. So she's like, this is heaven.
Well, and you don't get the impression in this town that anybody is really hurting too badly. None None of them look like they're starving, and they look to be a fairly prosperous town. In fact, that's something that you've noticed about the Adari Republic in every stop that you've made along your way with this caravan that you were with, that it's a fairly prosperous kingdom. Nobody looks like they're suffering. People don't let people go hungry.
They're all fairly comfortably middle class, I would say.
It is, and it's kind of nice to see the degree to which most people take care of each other, because they do. They seem to genuinely, and you've noticed it. It's attracted your attention. But anyway,
so I grab my plate and I kind of reach out and use it with my other hand to scoop up a big amount of food and to start chowing down.
Okay.
I was half expecting you to eat the plate.
Yeah. So, Gizik, there's silverware out there. Are you bothering
I almost
with
forgot to use the plate.
Beast with the porridge, you know?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So,
I eat like half the feast, yeah.
Okay. You eat half the feast. I'm assuming it's not a very pretty look. Lachlan, you walk in, and Gizik and Kaylin are eating, and Kaylin's kind of staring at Gizik as he eats.
In awe.
Yeah, in awe. Like
horrified awe.
Yeah, horrified awe. But she chows it down. Anyway, so you walk in, and they're feasting, Lachlan, and Bam sees you come in, and he says, are you going to want some breakfast then, lad? I think I have some food left.
Love some. But he's going to go sit at the bar.
Okay. And he looks up at you and he goes, you got something in your hair, laddie.
It's a little egg.
Part of his beauty regimen.
Yeah, it's a beauty regimen because he's
good for the roots.
Yeah. Okay.
I might be chowing down, but I'm not quite that messy. I can eat without getting egg in my hair.
Okay. And do you say that to Lachlan?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank goodness.
He says, yes, but can you be spurned without getting egg in your hair? I
don't know that
I get spurned all the time.
Does Gizik know what that word means?
No.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, if it's suffering, he probably assumes his mother inflicted it upon him at some point. So, okay. All right. So, Bam brings out a big old feast for you. Chows you up. He also points out some other, it's like, got some other stuff like in your head, whatnot. And that's basically the way of things. So
I'm assuming Kaylin is the one that tells him we're due at the chapel at 11 o'clock, basically.
I would assume so. And Anduriel is nowhere to be found. And he certainly was gone before you even tired, down for the night. So anyway, he's just out, disappeared.
Okay.
All right. So let's fast forward. So you guys head over to the church together, I would assume?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You head over to the church together, and there's a group of people in the church, just regular townsfolk. Some of them that you saw in the market, who are just kind of cleaning up, and they are looking. There's somebody in there mopping. There's somebody in there who's polishing the statue. They're sweeping, they're kind of airing things out. Somebody is putting oil and applying it to the wooden benches, and they're just kind of reclaiming the chapel. And some of them are even singing. And that's when you notice a lady come out of the curtain. She's absolutely beautiful, but she's not like Everine beautiful, who was, a lot like Lachlan. Her beauty is artificial. This is one of the beauties that's more natural. She doesn't obviously do much for herself. She's got an apron, a white apron tied around a light lavender dress. She looks to be in her mid-30s maybe, and she's whistling, and she comes through that curtain that was leading to the back rooms, and she says, "Oh, you're here. We were wondering when you were going to get here." She says, "Come on, come, please." And she goes behind the curtain again.
Kaylin follows.
Okay. All right, so you follow behind the curtain. Gizik and Lachlan, you accompany?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. A fireball. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway. The danger is not past. Okay, so you go back behind the curtain, and she is standing. She's got one leg up on a footstool. Yeah, exactly. Captain Morgan style. She's got one leg up on a footstool, and she's fiddling with that nice chest, Lachlan, that ornate chest that had kind of like the filigree around the edge that was in that furthest room. Yeah, it was in that furthest room, right? and she pops the lock off of it pretty easily. And she says, now, normally, these things would go to, I would assume, whatever priest took up the location, but everybody's pretty much decided that they agree you should have these things. And she pulls out a brooch that is in the shape of the shield of Bestera, which is the kind of that little, shield with the 3 points. And she pulls out a bronze circlet with some runes on it. And she pulls out a beautiful green and white cloth armor set. And she pulls out a polished black wooden staff. And she says, and it's a short staff, but it's more of a walking stick. But she says, these all belonged to our priest, Hope Master Benjamin. Nobody's going to use them now, and anybody who comes from the nearby chapel, whenever they end up making an appointment at the temple in Horta, she says, well, they'll probably come with their own things, and you should have these. I want you to have these.
I grabbed the staff.
Okay.
I barely managed to wait until she was done talking, but I grabbed the staff.
You snatch that right out of her hands. You snatch it out of her hands, and she laughs, and she says, well, he's not one to waste time, is he? Okay. Gizik, it is you feel immediately when you grip the staff that the staff is trying to protect you. You can feel an intelligence behind the magic item. Not that it talks. This isn't Beauty and the Beast, but I know you were hoping. But you feel like the staff's intention is to protect you automatically, and you are holding a defensive staff +2.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can Kaylin inquire if the lady knows what all these objects do?
And she says, I only have the vaguest notion. She says, I don't really know. She said, it's not like Hope Master Benjamin ever went into battle in front of us. And she says, she holds up the brooch and she says, I imagine that this is for health, that brooch.
Kaylin is definitely fond of that piece.
Okay. And she holds up the circlet, the little bronze circlet, It's a little headpiece. It's just a thin band of bronze that goes around the head. And she says, I'm not sure quite what this does. I feel like it's lucky somehow. And anyway, she hands both of these things to Kaylin just because you're the first one who said anything. And Gizik looks happy. And then she pulls out the green and white cloth armor. It's quite nice. And she says, I don't know what this is, but I imagine it's some kind of protection or something from harm. I wouldn't know. Anyway, she says, use them well. I suppose it's better if these things go to people like you as opposed to people like us.
Definitely.
Why?
What she says, well, dear, she says, we don't use fancy cloth fighting armor in the field. Well, I mean,
true.
During harvest times and sometimes, on a special wedding. Anyway, she goes in and she says, but in any case, that's all I can tell. Or at least that's what it looks like. I don't know. You'll have to play around with it. But she says, anyway, good luck.
Kaylin bows and says thank you and says her parting words, and out she goes.
Okay. And Lachlan, do you say anything?
I thank her. Bow deeply.
Okay. She looks at you, Lachlan. On your way out, she grabs your arm, Lachlan, and she says, I know we're giving you gifts, but she says, I hope you understand how important what you did for the people here is. We won't forget.
It was our duty and pleasure.
And she said, if only more people in the Eastlands shared your beliefs and beyond, the world might be a different place. But
exactly right.
She just goes, pish posh. Nothing to be done about it now, but change hearts one at a time, right?
Right.
Girl.
Okay. All right, now she goes, all right, now shoo. Off with you.
Do we know what's become of that mirror, just out of curiosity?
The mirror? The mirror is gone.
Oh, okay.
So you can ask the town council once you get there. Kaylin, as you emerge out of from the other side of the curtain, you are greeted by a group of 5 people who are in the chapel. They're kind of like standing in the pathway between the pews in the middle of the chapel. One of them is Irma Darkanel. The other one is
Beloved lady.
Tarman, the old lady. One of them is Tarman Aubertine, that guy with the friar haircut and the nasal
Friar
voice.
Man, as I've mentally referred to him.
And then there's Jacob Donley, who's that metal worker. He's not wearing his apron right now or his tools, but you can tell it's him. He actually has a fairly nice suit on, a good tunic. Looks like a festival clothing maybe. And then there's another woman there. She's wearing a dowdy gray and white dress with kind of just a serviceable apron. And her hair is she's got this curly red hair, and she has spectacles that she just is kind of constantly fiddling with and trying to get to fit. And then you see an elderly man, graying hair. He looks grouchy. He's dressed very nicely, and he's got a cane of beautiful lacquered wood with some kind of stylized, knight figure on the front of the cane. It's pretty fancy. He's just kind of leaning on it and
leaning on it.
Okay, and as he's leaning over it, he's kind of got a hunched form, and as he leans over, he kind of barks at somebody that she missed a spot on the pew or something.
Oh, he's a peach.
And so anyway, you guys come out, and he says, well, they're here now. Let's get on with it. I mean, they don't have all day. It's not like they can just stand around like all the rest of you with nothing to do.
Then who might you be, good sir?
She says, all right. So he starts to speak up, and the lady with the spectacles is pushing them up in the dowdy gray dress, and she says, he's Wesley Arvanel, and if you ask him anything more, he'll go on all day long. All right, and he looks like he's going to scowl at her. Irma goes, anyway.
Kaylin tries not to giggle.
Jacob Donley, the kind of the metal worker, he just kind of folds his arms and starts tapping his foot, like, can we please get this over with? But as you come out, he does make it a point to smile at each of you. Anyway, so Irma introduces the 2 that you don't know, and she says, this is Mary Bertha Cates. She's our schoolmistress. And he says, she's also our town wizard. And Wesley Arvanel, the guy leaning on the cane, he goes, she only knows the one spell. Okay. And Mary Bertha Cates says, can you make light? You can't conjure light, can you? And Wesley's like, you can't even direct where it goes. Nobody ever. All right. So they just are like, and she's just like
a married couple.
A little bit, yeah, but there obviously is no connection between them. You don't need to make an insight check. So Tarman Aberdeen says, well, that's not why we're here. We need to address the issues. Okay. Jacob Donley nods with his arms crossed, and Irma says, oh, yes, much to be done. And she says, you see, first we wanted to reward you, dear. And then she kind of like jerks her head at Wesley on the cane, and Wesley pulls out a pouch that's kind of heavy with coin, and he throws it to Lachlan.
I'll take that. Yeah.
He says, the town thanks you for your services. Don't know what we would have done if you hadn't been here. And he looks kind of wounded to part with the money.
Kaylin just kind of like watches the sack just go phew.
Yeah. Kaylin, it's a lot of money. Kaylin, to you, it's quite a bit of money. Lachlan, you going to stop and count it? Or?
Not in front. That
was never in front of them. Yeah.
Mentally just wait and go, it feels like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And Wesley says, but you see, we're not quite right yet. We have need of your services. You're priests, aren't you? You help people. Isn't that what you do?
No.
We try.
All right.
Liar.
He looks at Gizik, and then he looks at Lachlan like, what the heck?
He says, well, I don't know if he's a priest, actually, but he's the help, yes.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. All right.
Yay, shots fired.
Okay.
And Lachlan will turn and kind of give him give Gizik a wink, just so that he, doesn't feel too put out. Because I don't want to get like clawed in the back or anything.
Okay. Well, it's not Gizik that strikes party members, but that's okay. Anyway, moving on.
That would be-
Okay, I wasn't pointing fingers. Anyway, so Wesley Arvenel tells you that it's a 2-day horse ride to Lord White Rose's keep, and he says that the Night Lord has to be made aware of what's happened. And he says that it's about a 3-day ride to the town of Winter Run, which is to the northeast. And he says that with everything that's going on here, people are kind of nervous to travel. And the other thing is they haven't seen in the last few days any patrol coming through the town on the road. And people are a little bit unsettled. Now, there's an order of knights in the Adari Republic. There are many orders of knights, but there's one order in particular that serves kind of as their police force. It's called the Order of Just Blades. And it's well understood that the Order of Just Blades patrols and moves through the countryside and the towns, and nobody has seen anybody from the order for quite some time on the road. It's been, at least a week, and somebody should have come through the town. They have a chapter house in their town where the Knights lodge, but nobody's occupied the chapter house in a week either, and longer. So people are just kind of afraid to take to the roads with what happened in the church. And, people they're a little bit nervous. They're scared to go out at night. It's, there's just kind of this atmosphere of fear. But everybody kind of trusts in us or in you guys. So that being said, Wesley says, we were hoping that one of you or all of you would be willing to make the journey either to Winter Run or to Lord Jacknell's keep. Lord Jacknell White Rose. He's a good man, definitely reliable, but he does live a bit of ways from the town. We don't normally have to contact him. He resolves disputes and such, but we don't rely on him too much.
Where's the chapter house at?
The Knights chapter house?
Yeah, let's go there.
In the town. It's in the town.
I think we need to check it out.
All right. You say that, and Irma looks worried for a minute. She says, "You do? Do you suspect evilness?"
Sure.
Caitlin gives him the side eye, like, "What are you thinking?"
Okay.
Well, at least
it's empty, right? We need to go check it out.
Yeah, we should.
See what's there.
Okay. He says you can if you want to. He says it's the last building on the southern end of the town. It's just a cabin, really. The chapter house, of course, would change depending on the size of the town, but Hollydale is not a huge town. It's substantial, but it's not huge. There are a couple hundred people in it. They do a tiny bit of business, but they're not enormous. So their chapter house is modest as well. But anyway, that being said, so he tells you, he said, Wesley leans on the cane and he pounds the cane into the ground. And he says, "Look, we've made some mistakes and we're big enough to admit that we've made them. We relied on our Hope Master too much. Hope Master Benjamin did too much for us. Now, it's kind of tradition. Everybody knows it's tradition that they serve as our healer, our spiritual guide, and that's to be expected. But we've lost our sense of independence, and well, we had a hard time coming to a decision about what to do about these things. But we're hoping that you'd be willing to either head to Lord Jacknell's keep, or head to Winter Run and contact their priest and let him know what happened. Would you be willing to help the council with this?"
Yeah, what are you hoping for from Lord Jacknell?
He says, well, he'll know what to do. He'll know what procedures are for when something like this happens. He may want to do an investigation. I don't know. No one really has much of an idea of what to do. We can bury the dead. It's not that we don't know that, although we don't have a priest to say the rites for the burial.
I can do that for you.
Okay. He scowls at you, and Jacob Donnelly scowls, and if it's possible, he folds his arms even tighter. It's just...
Caitlin's like, "Well, I could as well, but I admit, if I were you, I would much rather have a priest in place." But
Okay, Mary Bertha Cates says, the fact is, we appreciate your help, but none of you are Besterin, and some folks would be, what's that?
Precisely.
And she says, and some folks wouldn't think it was proper. Not that I'm one of them, she says. Okay.
No, Kaylin agrees and completely understands, so.
Irma looks terribly embarrassed by this.
Lachlan says, I'm sure Bestera, goddess of hope, would not be displeased with a priest of the goddess of love, which is so related to hope.
It's so related.
Those
yeah, it's so related. Yeah. Well, Irma says, I don't see any problem with it, Wesley. And Wesley says, it doesn't matter. He says, the fact is, several persons have died through violent means. The Night Lord must be contacted. There are legal matters to be attended to here. And
True.
He pounds the ground with his cane.
He says, so if there aren't last rites, though, is there no concern with if your very church was consumed with evil, that these poor dead would rise as undead?
Okay, you say that. You say that, and the guy with the friar haircut, the little chubby guy with Tom and Arbany goes, undead.
Yeah, let's just burn them all.
Again.
Just burn them all.
Okay.
Vapors.
And he's got the vapors. He takes out his handkerchief and he blows it into and he's like, grabs a pinch of snuff, and he's like, undead? Nobody says anything about undead.
He says, "Well, I'd hate to leave Hollydale with unfinished work and come back and find the city or the town having been ravaged by ghouls or zombies or something."
Okay, make a diplomacy check.
27.
Okay, they're terrified. It's not that you intimidated them. It wasn't an intimidate check, but you've absolutely convinced them that this has to be done immediately. Yeah. So they're like, they're falling. All five of them are falling all over themselves. They're like, oh yeah, should we drive a stake through their heart and bury them facing the ground? How does this just
salt the earth?
Yeah, salt the earth, or Gizik just pee, whatever. Anyway, it's okay. So Wesley tells you that the Undertaker will dig the graves in the churchyard immediately, so that this can happen. If that's what you think is best. So long as there aren't any undead, like, yeah. Irma
I'm
rings
just
her
gonna look
hand.
at the boys and go, so leader boss man first, then priest? Like trying to form a plan of which one they're hitting first. Because clearly they need to get a move on.
Well, that begs the question too. Are you gonna stay for the burial? Or are you going to, how long are you gonna stay?
Well, to lay them to rest, don't we need to stay for the burial?
Okay. All right. They'll let you lay them to rest. They'll dig graves pretty quickly. If there's work to be done, then it tends to be done by many hands in the Adari Republic. They're good about that. And so they will dig the graves rather quickly, and they'll go ahead and let you say a prayer over the graves to prevent the walking dead from killing them all in their sleep, which they're terrified of now. Now, none of the village council are going to be able to sleep tonight. They're all going to have garlic around their neck and holy symbols clutched like this as they look at the window and the door and pray not to be devoured by horrid undead. So, anyway, are you going to help them by contacting either Lord Jackanel Whiterose, or are you going to head to the next town of Winter Run and contact their church in order to let them know what's happened?
Can Kaylin have a moment to confer quietly with the lads?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, since everybody's gone to
have they departed?
Sure
okay.
Yeah, they frantically departed. They're running to the street. We have to bury the dead or Armageddon! So, yeah.
Kaylin's like, we're really good at this people thing, aren't we? We're super good.
Okay. All right. So confer with your friends.
All right, friends.
They've asked you to do one or the other. Somebody needs to go for help. They either
Okay, so
feel
we
like
can't
they need
do
the guidance-
both.
They need the guidance. Well, you could. They're just
Okay.
asking for the guidance of their Night Lord or the guidance of a priest of Vestera.
Kalen's like, I would prefer to go for the priest. What do you lads think?
Lachlan says, under normal circumstances, I would agree, but given that the priest here was the
Source
church
of
had
the
fallen
evil.
to deception and evil, I think we go the secular route this time.
Physics, what say you?
You got a point, but I still don't want to go see the Lord. I mean, politicians, they'll probably just kill us all. Let's go see the priest.
You're used. I know you might be used to the pitchforks and torches kind of thing, but not everybody's like that. And if we have to, I'll buy you a mask.
Not all priests.
A mask.
I'll buy you a mask.
Question
If
for
you're
the
worried,
DM.
if you're worried about them confusing you with like an ogre or a troll or something,
I could just take your face.
Kalen's like, well, that escalated quickly.
Okay.
Question
Empty
for the
threat,
DM.
but
Yes.
On a scale of 1 to immediate murder, how bad would it be if Kalen went for the priest solo? Or if the two of, like, if Kalen and Gizek went for the priest and Lachlan went for the Lord Face dude?
How bad would it be?
Yeah.
It's entirely up to you. I mean, if you're asking me outside of the game, do I feel like it would be dangerous for a young lady to travel the roads alone?
not alone. With
No!
an ogre, you know?
Yeah. No.
But
By
then
all
that would
means.
leave
Yeah.
Lachlan going solo.
Yes, it would.
he'd just go marry Lady Everdeen and then have her companionship.
Well, that's going to be a very quick end to his adventuring career. So
No. Lachlan is not. He is either way. If and he'll say, look, if the two of you want to go for the priest, we go for the priest. I don't have a strong feeling. I'm just worried that if there's corruption in one of these churches, we could be facing another man in the mirror.
Zoltar says.
Burn the
Zoltar
witch.
in the chat says, yes, split the party. That's always a good idea.
I know. That's what I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's gonna. No, you can.
It's
split
totally
the party.
episode 4, guys.
You can split the
We're
party, but
unnumbered.
all right. So Lachlan, do you acquiesce to them then?
Oh yeah, if they want to do that, but he will say if you're willing to risk getting burned at the stake again, I guess we can go try the church.
Thank you kindly for bringing that back to my attention, sir.
Okay.
If we find another man in the mirror, we can just, ask him to change his ways.
Okay. That's beautiful.
You finally got it, Matt.
Somebody got it. Yeah,
Got it.
that was beautiful. Very nice. Okay.
Sorry I didn't sing it.
That was so painful. All right, moving on here. Okay. So who is taking the brooch, the circlet, and the robe? Kaylin, he handed them all to you. You're just going to put them all on? You're going to accessorize?
I would like the brooch.
Okay.
That's all right.
Kaylin, you can feel what it does immediately. It is a brooch of vitality. And what it does is raise all of your defenses. So your fortitude, your reflex, and your will all go up by 2. And in addition to that, you now have 5 extra hit points.
Woohoo!
So your max hit points now is 39 instead of 34.
What would I be then for bloodied?
Your bloody value does not
17?
change because they're not really your hit points.
Okay, got it.
At least that's the way this brooch of vitality works.
Right.
All right, so I just changed all of your defenses for you on the Google Docs, so you're good to go.
Thank
I don't wear
you.
cloth armor, so Lachlan says I'll try the circlet if
Okay.
everyone's amenable.
Locklet, it is a circlet of second chances.
Ooh.
It is a daily magic item that lets you re-roll a saving throw.
Can Enduriel wear cloth?
Yes, he could,
Okay.
but
I just
he's
wanted to
not
make sure there
here.
was something. Well, I wanted to make sure there was something for everyone.
Really?
So,
You snooze, you lose. You run out on the party. You get.
But then again, if Caitlin has a generous nature, then that's up
She's
to
not
her.
used to being greedy. She's like,
the lady handed the stuff to you, so
right, but still, 4 pieces, 4 adventurers. Eventually,
What armor does Kaylin wear?
currently none. Yes,
she didn't have armor. Yeah,
Oh, there you
she
go.
doesn't have armor proficiency yet either. So
she's probably like, well, I have to carry it. I might as well wear it.
really, any of the 4 of you could wear this item.
And her robe did burn away in the fire.
Well, I would like to point out that Kaylin still has not had time to purchase any supplies or anything.
Yeah, girl needs to go like grab an adventurer's pack before we go anywhere, please.
Okay.
I
So
can't really imagine Gizik trying to force this little robe on, little purple robe. It's
there
not
will
gonna
be your
work.
loincloth.
yeah, it's not a robe, but it's not a robe. It's cloth armor. It's obviously a set of armor. So it's not like you'd be putting on a dress or something. It just would cover.
Does it adjust to fit the user?
I don't know. Nobody's put it on yet.
Well, Kaylin has to because A, her clothes are crap, and B,
Mhm.
if I'm going to carry it, I might as well wear it.
Kaylin, the robe automatically adjusts itself magically to perfectly fit your form.
Sweet.
It even hugs the places that you want hugged to make everything look just, ooh, I mean,
Extra
just
good.
look- yeah, it just looks perfect. And you're like, you've never had any piece of clothing that fit like this before. It's almost like a second skin.
You're like, oh, this is what tailoring is.
Yeah, and it's just absolutely beautiful. You've never worn anything so nice, and you are now wearing.
Maybe Adriel doesn't get this.
You are wearing a robe of contingency, or rather, cloth armor of contingency. So now, Kaylin, your AC goes up by 1.
Oh yeah, and Adriel's totally not getting this.
Okay, and you greedy little. Okay, and
She learned greed very quickly.
yeah. And it's called a robe of contingency because when you are bloodied, you can teleport 6 squares away and spend a healing surge. So
Ooh, okay.
this robe is all about getting you out of trouble,
Sweet.
which for you is really an ideal circumstance. So, okay. All right, let's go ahead and speed things up a little bit for the sake of those of us who are watching this and whatnot. Kaylin, you can make some purchases. I'm assuming we can go ahead and deal with that. You can get that healer's kit that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Lachlan, you have been given 100 gold pieces, which isn't a huge amount, but in terms of what the town can give, it's quite the sum, right? This is the kind of sum that they only hand out when somebody wins the 10-year village fair archery competition or something. And but they took up a collection. Yes.
As a DM, how stringent are you on keeping an eye on who has what amount of gold and how much they spent? Blah blah blah.
I know how much gold you have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lachlan gives Gizik and Kaylin each 25 gold, and he keeps 50 for himself. But he tries to be subtle about it.
Okay. Alrighty.
Can Kaylin roll an insight check and see if she catches him?
Absolutely, she can.
Okay, hold on.
Roll a bluff check, Lachlan. What did you get?
A 25.
Oh,
What did she get?
I got like a 13.
Unfortunately, you are convinced the bard was so generous with you. And Kaylin, your mind is just spinning. You now have like 45 gold pieces. You could go home and retire and on the money that you have now.
Yeah. Well, because she originally had 10 from Victoria.
Yeah.
So now she's got what, 35?
Yep. She's got 35 gold pieces, which is just, I mean, that'll buy bread forever. That's just
right.
So anyway. Alrighty. So I'm assuming that you pick up whatever supplies you would like to have.
Yeah, I'm just going to shortcut it as an adventurer's pack and a healing.
Okay. All right. So she gets a healer's kit and adventuring pack. Anybody else want to pick up anything important before you hit the road?
Well, I've got this mace that I picked up from the priest. Does it look like anything special?
Mm-mm.
Nope.
Right. Just a regular standard iron mace.
Could he sell it if he wanted to?
Yeah, you could sell it.
Nobody in this town's going to buy it. I don't really care about it.
Nobody in this town's going to want to buy it. But yeah, you can
Oh,
sell
true,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we will go ahead then and skip down the road a little bit. You are going to head into the town of Winter Run, yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's going to be about 5 days journey to the town of Winter Run, give or take, because you have no horses and nobody was.
Horses?
You could try to steal somebody's horse.
No.
But they really don't have any horses to spare. As you know, like Irma said, the stable master, first of all, he was the chintzy one pounding the cane into the ground. And you kind of got the impression from him that after he rewarded you, he expected you to earn your reward more. So he's not likely to give up a free set of horses. But you could always purchase one if you wanted to from somebody or try to.
Does he do rental? Rent to own?
Does he rent horses? No. He doesn't RTO his horses. No.
Girl can try.
Girl gonna try. All right. So let's speed up then things and head down the road a little bit.
Okay.
So you guys head down the road and long about, I don't know, give or take, probably 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You guys, same day, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you guys head down the road, and that is when you see a tower on the end of the road. Now, traveling through the Adaria Republic, Lachlan and Kaylin, you guys have seen these before. This is a watchtower. It's not fancy. It's not even particularly large. The purpose of the watchtower is to have a place for the Just Blades to stop on their journeys, and also to be able to kind of just keep an eye from a higher vantage point on the countryside. Make sure that there's not some kind of army of goblins or whatnot. So you come upon this tower, and you're moving down the road a ways, and you see that there is a group of people surrounding somebody up at the tower who has his sword drawn.
Okay.
And they're taunting him. Now, this group of people that you can see, they're dressed in red, and they are wearing some kind of red hood, and not the Joker red hood, but they're
probably not a good sign.
They're wearing some kind of red hood, and they're taunting this guy in the middle who's got his sword drawn.
That does not look good, gents.
Nobody's seen you yet. You've seen this off in the distance, but
okay. Kaylin's just gonna kind of look at the lads and be like, "Do we stop?"
Well, I gotta get close. Lachlan says, "Let's take a closer look."
Take a closer
look. Kaylin has like 0 road experience right now.
Okay. You can see this down the road a ways. So you guys come to a bend in the road. We will put this gentleman on, he's going to be on 17L.
Would you consider him a baddie or a monster? Baddies are littler in my head. Monsters are bigger.
Well, this is the gentleman who's being taunted.
Okay.
And he looks like he is dressed like a knight of some kind. And he has a short sword drawn, and he's kind of just like frantically parrying their blows, and they're totally just playing with him. I mean, it's really kind of sad. He looks kind of panicked, but nobody has quite noticed you yet.
Okay.
So where are these people around him? Are they just in adjacent squares?
Yeah, they would be in the squares adjacent around him. There are about 5 of them. So there's one in 16K. There's one in 16L. There's one in 17N. There's one in 18M. And there's one in 18K. And they're all wearing red caps. Now, I will tell you this. If you get any closer, you're going to be spotted.
Right on.
Well, I think Lachlan's the type to make some assumptions here, and he's going to shout out and say, leave him alone."
Okay. How close are you going to get, Lachlan? If you want to be heard, you're going to have to get within about 20 squares to be heard easily.
Well, he'll get to where he can be easily seen, so he'll get within 10.
Within 10? Okay. All right, so put yourself, what square are you going to be on?
Are we coming from the north or to the south?
To the north or to the south?
Yeah.
You are coming from the north.
All right. How about M9?
All right. So you're gonna get quite close. Kaylin, how close are you gonna get?
Kaylin will be about 3 squares behind Lachlan.
3 squares behind Lachlan. Okay.
Yeah.
You are in 6M.
Correct, Amundo, sir.
Gizik.
I'll be closer to the edge. Let's say K7.
All right. K7. All right. Lachlan, you shout out what?
Hey, leave him alone.
Okay. Lachlan, you shout out hey, leave him alone. And they look up at you and you get a much better look at them now. They're all wearing some kind of a red hat. But it looks like kind of like Orko, like the hat's been pulled down too far and their eyes are over it. And it almost looks like a little, one of those little gnome caps. You know what I'm talking about? Except it's pulled down over their eyes and they all have wide eye holes cut and it's like stopped at the nose. And they look a little bit weird. But that being the case, you say, hey, leave him alone. And they all look at each other and they're like, there's just, a bunch of ruckus laughter. And then the one in 17N, he looks up at you and he says, why don't you mind your own business here? Trust me, you don't want to get involved in this.
He says, I think I do.
He says, that's fine. The more the merrier, I suppose. All right. And he steps back and he aims his crossbow, and we are in initiative, my friends.
Oh, crap. Can you give me a quick rundown of where the people surrounding him are again? I'm sorry.
Okay, they all look relatively the same to you, but there's someone in 16K, 16M, 17N, 18K, and 18M.
Okay, I think I got everybody right.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.
Alrighty.
Okay.
All right. They are not taking the three of you seriously at all. They think that this is absolutely ridiculous, and they're laughing their heads off at you. They may come to regret that.
One hopes.
One would hope. Okay. So, all right, my friend, roll into initiative.
14.
Lachlan, 14.
28.
Ooh. Gizik, 28.
Did you take improved initiative?
No. I rolled an 18, though.
10 for Kaylin.
You rolled an 18 and you have a plus 10?
Yeah.
I'm confused.
18 on the die plus 10 makes 28.
I know. I was just wondering how you have a plus 10 at second level.
That's like I call shenanigans.
I think he put a 0 next to his real modifier. That's what I think happened. Well, I'm assuming you rolled higher than Lachlan. Kaylin.
I'd have to look it up.
Kaylin got 10.
Kaylin got a 10. All right, and these folks get themselves a 2.
Nice.
They are clearly not taking you seriously. Okay, Gizik, you are first.
What about the knight?
What about the knight? He is moving slowly behind Kaylin. Okay, Gizik, my friend, what would you like to do?
Let's see. I will. Guess I'll move in closer.
You'll move in closer.
P11.
P11. Okay.
Yes.
I'm not saying anything. Okay.
Okay, this is range 10. Okay, so then the guy that was talking said he was the one on N17, right?
Yep.
I will try to bewitch him.
Okay, go for it.
So that's a 20 versus will.
Yeah, you have got him under your power. What are you going to do to him?
I think vulnerability is a good one.
Okay, vulnerability 2. You will do 2 more points of damage to this fool. Okay, and what would you like to do with your standard action?
I'll use sap the soul.
You're going to use sap the soul?
Yeah, so centered on him, so it should hit the 2 that are next to him as well. If I hit him.
That it will do.
All right, so on the first one, let's see.
Their will is only 12.
All right, well, it's fortitude. So 20 versus fortitude on the first one.
Okay, their fortitude is 12 also.
14 on the second, and
Hit.
27 on the third.
Okay, hit.
Nice.
Okay. Now, let me just save you the trouble before you start calculating anything. All 3 of them die.
All right.
Sweet.
They
And
shouldn't
which are
have
those?
fight with us.
So tell us what that looks like, Gizik.
Just red blood-colored energy floats off of them. They collapse dead, and then it shoots into me, and I feel better.
Right. So Gizik lifts up one of his claws, and then red crackling energy just kind of fills his hand from all 3 of them. And all 3 of them, like, their skin kind of shrivels up, and their eyes sink in, and boom, they all hit the floor. And the other 2 are like, ah! They look absolutely terrified.
So which ones are still on the field?
There's one on 16K and one on 18K.
And
Okay,
we can still kill the knight, too.
You want to kill the knight also?
He is a knight.
He is a knight, that's true, but you didn't tell me that you were putting it on him.
Oh, no. This one's not... That attack didn't target him at all.
Well, I'm just checking.
I'm saying we could. That's still an option. We can still kill this guy.
You can still kill this guy.
Say anything out loud about killing him?
I will tell you that that when you drop your spell that night, you look at him. He looks to be about Lachlan's age, so he's young, but he's not a baby. And you cast this spell and red crackling energy, and he goes, "Ah!" And he fumbles his sword, and he almost drops it, and he's now holding it by the blade like a club. Okay. Looks absolutely terrified. Lachlan, your turn, my friend.
All right. I want to make an intimidate check and just yell at those other 2. Say, this is your chance to run.
Okay. Well, it's not their turn, but I can tell you right now, they're seriously considering it. So
that's a 22 intimidate.
All right. Are you doing that with your standard action?
Yes, and then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to go stand right in front of the so that I'm flanking one of those guys with the knife.
Okay.
So yeah, he yells that, and then walks right up to him, sword drawn, and then just right as soon as he's next to him says, "Go."
All right. So you're in square 15J.
Yeah.
Okay.
15K.
15K does not have you flanking.
No, 15L.
Okay. That does not have you flanking either.
Isn't there one in 16L?
There's one in 16K, not 16L.
Yeah,
gotcha.
the elves are gone.
It's fine. I'll just be in 15L.
Okay. Now you are flanking. All right, so you make your intimidate check, and I can tell you this much. You want to make an insight check. They're crapping themselves right now. You may even see the brown, just a little bit scathing. Okay, that's Lachlan. They look pretty panic-stricken. Kaylin.
Kaylin's kind of like, well, do I need to do anything? They're practically going to run anyways.
Well, they look pretty terrified, but you don't have to let them get away. It depends on Kaylin.
This is true. Is she within distance to yell at the knight?
Within distance to yell at the knight?
Yeah.
Of course, he can hear you. I mean, you only need to be about 20 squares in for them to hear you yelling, but now 10 squares in?
There's only 2 left. Do you really? I mean, I can murder them, but what do you want to do?
Okay. All right. He looks too panic-stricken to respond to you.
You're just like, well, that was pointless.
Okay. Well, in fact, you yell, and he holds up the sword by the blade like, ah! Like this.
Let's see. Well, she's going to have to move forward to attack anyone because she's the one that's furthest back. And she can do what? 6?
6 what?
If she runs?
If you run, you can do 8. But remember, if you run in 4th edition, you suffer a -5 to any attack. Now, Kaylin, what else you can do, Kaylin, is you can ready an action if you want to, in case any of them try to do something aggressive to intercept them.
Okay. Can she ready Blurred Step?
No, Blurred Step is something that you do when somebody tries to move away from you.
Okay. Let me look.
But you can just say that you're readying an attack.
Okay.
Or readying your utility power that you just learned.
Yes, which is not on this sheet.
No.
But it might be on the other sheet. Yeah, I will say that she's readying an attack as she sprints forward.
All right, Kaylin, you're readying an attack. Now it would be the knight's turn. He is kind of panicking at this point, but he looks up at the 3 dead, and he looks up at you, and he's like, huh. And he goes, yeah, run away. And he throws his sword at the other guy in front of him. And it goes flying past the side of Lachlan's head. Lachlan, he almost decapitates you. And then he looks up like, oh crap, I threw my sword. Like, so he's a little panic stricken, and he draws a dagger, and that's his turn. Okay. Now that would be the knight's turn. All right. Now it's their turn. Okay. On their turn, another one of these guys, a little bit taller than all the rest, comes out to square 17I. Okay. Comes out to square 17I, and he goes, what the hell is going on out here? And he looks down at all of the dead, like his dead compatriots that Gizik just magicked, and he goes, egads! And then he looks up and he's like, this is not the arrangement, people. And he's looking around. And that is when you hear something very interesting.
What is that? Okay.
So you hear that, and up on square 16R, up on top of that little embankment thing,
okay,
you see a lady with a trumpet. And she just kind of blows the fanfare. And then she looks down and she says, never fear, the faith of man is here to save you.
Oh, no.
Okay. The dude who is standing in 17I, the one with the red cap, who's a little bit taller than everybody else, he just looks up like this. Okay? And she looks down, and 2 other people come and stand next to him. An elf in a white robe with a long bow over his shoulder, very casually strung, comes up and stands just a little bit behind her in square 14S. And then a man in a very stylized blue armor comes and stands up to flank her other side in square 18S, also up on the embankment. Okay. And she looks down at you. She's wearing kind of like one of those big poofy dresses from back in olden times that used to have the wooden frames so that they bell out more like a bell. And she's wearing this big poofy dress. And then you have the elf in the white robe, and you have a man who you really can't see because he's decked out in this stylized blue, like cobalt blue armor. And he's just covered from head to toe in this armor. And there, she blows the fanfare and announces, "The faith of man will save you." And then the guy who walked out of the tower, he goes, "This isn't, what's going on here? This is not what I signed up for." Okay. And she looks down and she goes, "Unhand that knight, you brigand. Be off with you before I have to give you a thorough punishing." And he looks down and he's like, "Hey, 3 of my men dead is not the arrangement that we made." And she scowls at him for a moment and looks at him like, "You're nothing." And she looks over at her compatriots and she says, "Well, we'll see about that." She says, "Epistovus, Salak, show them what happens when you cross the faith of man." And they just kind of both look at her, and then they are going to move in to engage at some time. So I am rolling them into initiative. And they are going to go right between Lachlan and Gizik.
All right, by the way, I should be 18, not 28. I had my math completely wrong.
That's okay. You're still ahead of
I copied a value from another cell on my spreadsheet.
Okay. Alrighty. That works out. And bada bing, bada boom. All right, so that would be their turn. Back to the top. Gizik. It's still your turn, even on an 18.
Okay. Well, I bend over and I put my fist down on the ground, and the earth just kind of flows up over my fist, and I have just this just covered in stone now, just nice heavy fist.
Okay. Gizik transforms his fist to stone.
And I'm going to step forward and then charge that guy that just stepped out of the tower.
Okay. All right.
No!
You are going to have to run through a bit of a crowd in order to do that. You will provoke an attack of opportunity from the guy in 16K.
Yep.
And me. And from me.
And from
Lachlan.
you? You're going to attack me too?
Lachlan's feeling frisky.
No, Lachlan wants to grab Gizik and stop him.
Okay.
Well, Lachlan's like 20 feet away.
Lachlan, you don't have a grab that's an attack of opportunity, Lachlan. Unfortunately, that's not in your skill set.
So it's just a melee attack, right?
Well, if that's what you'd like to do, okay.
I don't want to hurt him. I just want to stop him.
Okay. Well, you're still going to have to make an attack roll. Well, hold on there. Gizik, are you going to do this knowing you'll provoke an attack from 16K red cap?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Tell me what square you're moving to, my friend.
16J.
16J. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. He is going to swing and attack you with his dagger. And he misses. Clean miss. Lachlan.
What is it? What's it versus? Reflex or AC or something?
Are you hitting him with a melee basic attack?
I'm just
Okay, that's his AC. You're hitting his AC with a melee basic.
I rolled a 17, but I don't want to damage him. I just
that's fine. Okay. All right, Gizik, you go running past. That one guy with the red cap swings his dagger at you, but it's kind of this terrified, like, ugh. And as he does that, the knight sees the jerk of movement. It's like, ah! And he like goes up the block like it's aimed at him, and he looks like he's about to faint. And
Did I get him?
Yeah, you got him. So he kind of like clotheslines you with his arm, trying to stop you. Whether or not you stop your standard action is up to you, Gizik.
No. I'll just charge through him.
Okay. All right, Gizik, your standard action. What are you doing, bud?
Yes. I am Dreadful Claw.
Okay.
So this is versus Reflex. And not a great roll. I think that's 15 versus Reflex.
That just hits, yes.
Okay. Okay, so that's 10 damage, and he's dazed.
Okay.
And I'm not going to slide him.
Okay, what does that look like when you cast that spell?
Just I hold up my hand and the stony fist I have. Oh, speaking of which, it's 14 damage, not 10 damage, because of the stone fist. So the stony fist I have just starts dripping with this, just dripping black and just kind of nasty, and I clawed across him, and it leaves kind of this black stain on him that's still kind of burning him.
Okay. All right, so you come slashing across, and he tries to like dart out of the way, but you just get in there too fast. Lachlan tries to stop you, and you kind of like shove Lachlan by the face out of there, like you just kind of shove him out of the way. Lachlan, he's made contact with your face, and all of a sudden you're wanting to brush your teeth, and you're wishing you had a Calgon Bass to take it away. Anyway, and he comes in, and he slashes right across this guy's chest, and he's like, "Oh!" And he looks at you, and he looks completely shocked that you've attacked him. Like, what are you doing? And then he looks and he's like, well, you son of a bitch. And he just throws it out there. Like he's offended that you clawed him. And it's ugly. So that would be Gizik's turn. Okay. Now it would be the turn of the people who are up on the hill. And
they moved down, though, didn't they? The two people that were flanking the lady?
They did not. They
did not.
They just came up to flank her. They're still up there on the embankment. It's only 3 squares up, as you can see from the map. But they're still standing up there. So she's holding this trumpet, right? And she looks down there, and she's just like, well, God, and then she throws the trumpet on the floor, like, who are they?
God bless it.
And she looks thoroughly irritated. She grabs a bola from her belt, and she goes like this, and she hucks it at one of the dudes, and she nails him. So her bola goes wrapping around the guy in the red cap on 18K, and it wraps him up like a turkey and knocks him out, and he drops to the floor.
Okay. Should I leave this marker on the map or remove it?
No, they're all still in the square. It's difficult terrain now.
Oh, got it. Thank you.
Anyway, she clocks him, right? And then, anyway, that's her turn. And then the man, the elf, he goes and runs through a brief spell. And I would like Gizik, you have Knowledge Arcana, right?
Yes.
Gizik, make a Knowledge Arcana check. You only need a 10.
12.
Okay, the man named Epistaphus in the white robe just cast Bewitch on the other guy in the red cap that is to the right of you. Okay? He casts Bewitch, and then he does some kind of effect, and then the guy goes, oh, like he looks down at his stomach like he's gonna throw up or be sick or something, and he's like wobbling, and then he lifts his hand up like that, and his eyes are just kind of like staring intently ahead, and he gathers sunlight into his hands, and he chucks this little ball of light, and he hits the guy, and the light kind of goes around like a vice and goes like whoop, like, and goes around him like this, and it's kind of holding him there, and he's struggling against it. Like he reaches his arms up against this light, and then it goes snap, it snaps back down, and it's almost like it's a rubber band or something keeping him from lifting his arms, and he reaches against it, and then he goes wham, and then he just drops over unconscious. So that would be all of them.
Okay.
And then Salak, the man in the blue cobalt armor, whose features are somewhat concealed from you, he is going to... He looks irritated, but he steps up and he points his hand and he hangs his spear into the ground, and like roots and plants and grass come up out of the ground, and they wrap up the guy that just walked out of the tower, okay? Who looks down and he's like, oh, it's all over my clothes and it's everywhere. And he's like obviously wrapped up, and he looks up like, what is wrong with you people? And he's looking at all of you like you've gone to crack or something. And the guy in the cobalt armor who just made the plants come up and trap him, and he says, get on your way out of here, Kerr. You have no place here. And then it is Lachlan's turn.
Okay, Lachlan says telepathically to his allies, says, this is a setup. These are the same guys that these are the same guys that these guys belong to the same order as Marzipan, the guy we took down, whatever his name was.
I need a minute to enjoy that. Hold on. Okay, go.
You mean Mazamar?
Mazamar, yeah.
That is the best.
They're
Okay.
all part of this together, and this whole thing is a setup to win converts.
Okay. All right,
And-
that's your minor action to say this in their head.
Okay, and then
Can Kaylin shoot something back to him? Obviously, I know she can't send it to Gizik, but
On
can
your
Lockie
turn.
over here? Okay.
On your turn, you can. We're still in combat right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? You still have a standard and you have a move. Do you want to ready in action?
No, I think I hate these guys already.
You do?
Yeah, I'm going to, well, with my move action, I want to use Heart Sight,
Okay. Who are you looking at?
the lady.
All right. She does appear to be full of love. The way that you read her aura, you can tell a lot of it is directed at herself.
Oh, they should be best of friends.
Yeah. But she is quite full of love. You can't really read other emotions, but she does have things that she is very attached to, and one of them you perceive is herself.
All right.
More than a healthy sense of self-esteem in this gal.
Okay, well, how hurt is our trussed up red cap guy?
Well, he just got the crap clawed out of his chest. So the answer to that is he's significantly wounded, but he looks like he can take a lot more than that. He's not bloodied yet.
Okay. Wow, this is a quandary. I'm tempted to heal him.
All right, Lachlan, you still have a standard action. Make up your mind. What are you doing? Lachlan, I will notice something. I will let you notice one other thing, even though you're focused on her. The man in the white robe doesn't really draw your attention. He seems to have rather generic levels of affection, what you would expect from a normal person. But the man she named Salak, the one with the spear and the blue cobalt armor, he is decidedly low on affection. You can't really perceive much love of anything in him.
And he's the one who just trussed up.
He's the one who just made the plants come up and entangle that guy.
So that guy is just immobilized, right?
He is immobilized, yes. Well, apparently.
Okay.
He's mostly complaining that it's ripped up his clothes and he's dirty.
All right. So I want to target Salak.
Okay.
With I'm going to channel divinity.
Okay.
Unrequited love.
You're going to hit him with unrequited love?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
What's his will?
Salak's will is 15.
Okay, here goes. I rolled a 19, so as he does this, he says, Lady Trueheart, shatter this broken heart on the altar of your scorn. And he is cold 5, knocked prone, vulnerable 5 to all, and has to spend his next standard action begging my forgiveness and confessing his undying love.
5. All right, so if you pull him 5, he is now in 15N. Okay. He will also suffer 1d6 points of damage from falling down the embankment. You may roll that.
Oh, it's not a steep cliff then?
Nope.
Or?
It's more of an incline.
Okay.
Sorry to be that player, but is this the person to the right or the left of Trumpet Lady?
This is the person to the right, to the south.
Thank you kindly.
18S. I know, to the right, to the left, to the south. I'm like, okay. This is the perils of using graph paper, but then the only limit I have is my imagination, which is how I like it. So, okay, so he is pulled to that square, and on his turn, he takes that damage. So he looks up at you, and he takes his helmet, and he throws his helmet off, and he comes running down the embankment. He's like, I'm sorry. And he falls down the embankment.
That's beautiful.
And then he gets up and he crawls the other 5 squares that you pull him, and he starts weeping. And as he comes closer to you, Lachlan, you can see that his skin is that same blue cobalt color as his armor, and his eyes are crackling with lightning. You may make a knowledge arcana check.
Natural 20.
Ooh, okay.
Well done, sir.
You remember seeing a picture in a book that you once studied in the House of Repose in Sindel's temple. You think this guy is an Archon, which is very strange. At first, when you first look at him, you thought, oh, he's a genocide. But as you look at the shape of his body and even his face and just how much of him appears to be energy, you think that he is not a genocide, but an actual storm archon. He's a creature that is composed largely of elemental energy. But this archon looks surprisingly human. Now, you remember from your studies that the archons are the servants of the primordials. So this boy is most likely not close to home right now. He is almost definitely not from this plane of existence.
I knew he was up to no good.
Oh, what, really? What was your first clue? Okay, so moving on. Alrighty. That being said, that was Lachlan's turn. Kaylin, my dear. Lachlan has gone on the offensive.
I'm super friggin' lost about who is where.
Okay.
So just going to be upfront about that.
I'm sure the viewers are too.
That's okay.
So who is like near Kaylin? Is anyone?
Okay, Kaylin, you are within 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can reach anybody, Kaylin, with a 10-foot power. Otherwise, you're going to have to move.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought. Well, I can only do one creature. I'm going to. Is Night Boy still standing?
Is Night Boy standing? You mean the one in the cobalt blue armor?
Yeah.
No, that's the one that Lachlan pulled towards him, who is on his turn going to be begging for Lachlan to forgive him and expressing his undying love.
Or did you mean the clumsy boy knight that was surrounded at the beginning?
That one, the one that was surrounded originally.
He is on 17L and he has not moved. All he did was throw his sword and then his dagger. He's got a dagger in his hand. And when Gizik attacked, he went to parry, even though no one was attacking him.
Okay. So I can lift up to 400 pounds, right?
Yes, you can, but it has to be unattended, remember?
I think
a non-living, unattended object.
Oh, I forget I can't move people, darn it.
Nope.
Okay. I wanted to move him like out of their range, but that's not going to work.
200 with Farhand, don't you mean 20?
That's not
no,
what she's
it's been
talking
upgraded.
about.
Oh, wow.
It's now up to 400.
Yeah, she's a healthy gal.
That's impressive.
All right. I'm going to mind thrust whoever is closest to me because I don't know where the heck they are.
Okay. The closest person to you is either going to be the one that Lachlan dragged towards him on square 15N.
Okay.
That's Salak. Or you can hit the elf in the white robe that cast the light spell. He is still up on the hill on square 14S.
14S. Let me move that dude.
So do you want the elf on 14S in the white robe, or do you want to hit Salak, or would you like to go for the lady with the trumpet?
I'm going to go for the elf.
You're going to go for the elf?
Yeah.
All right, you're going to hit him with mind thrust?
Yeah.
All right. The elf, his will is 14.
Can I also augment that one?
Of course you can. If you hit, you can put one of your power points in it.
Okay.
All right.
So, I'm sorry, I'm very space cadet today. What am I rolling?
Rolling the 1d20 to attack with your psionic power.
Thank you, sir.
You have a +5.
I've never done this before. Oh, she's terrible. 2.
A 7. Okay. You try, Kaylin, to make contact with his mind, but your psionic powers are kind of muddled by the fact that your intentions are not clear. So you go to establish the mind, but you're like, I don't know quite what's going on. And your intention and your will is not strong enough to bring the energy to bear this time.
Okay.
So you're like...
Yes. Player and character are super confused.
There's like flashing energy from your eyes and there's an aura around you, but it just fades. And then you're like, do I really want to do this? And so... creates indecision. Okay. You still have a move and a minor, my dear.
All right. I'm going to move.
Do you want to reply to Lachlan with your minor action?
Yes.
What did you want to say?
I completely forgot what he's... Oh, this was a setup. She wants to ask if Lachlan knows who these people serve, particularly the one that was using light magic.
Lachlan, you can respond if you want to.
He says no, but this guy at my feet is an archon, primordial. It ties to primordials. So,
Kaylin, make a knowledge arcana check untrained. Actually, no. Kaylin, you can make a knowledge religion check.
Okay.
You only need about a 13.
I got a 1.
Okay. Kaylin, you think that Lachlan just told you this guy is like an enemy of people that churn butter. You're like... like milkmaids.
All of my fails are going to involve Jerry, aren't they?
He said primordial, and you heard like perimagurfin or something like that. And so you're like, why does this guy hate people that churn butter? But either way, it sounds nefarious. I mean, milkmaids all over the world should be afraid of this guy.
I love that all my fails involve dairy.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'll mix it up later, but that's where we are.
It's okay. It's great.
Okay.
I love it.
All right. Moving on, ladies and gentlefish. That was Kaylin's minor. Kaylin, you still have a move.
I'm going to move 6 steps to the right towards the embankment.
Okay. Are you going to go up the embankment?
Yeah. Can I?
Make a climb check.
Okay.
It's just an embankment. It's not a hill. All you need is basically probably about a 9.
Okay. 12.
All right. So
Why
with
couldn't I
your
have gotten
bonus,
that in the other one?
you go right up that side of the embankment. And do you want to get as close to the elf as you can, or you just want to get up there?
I just want to get up there for right now.
All right. So for right now, we're gonna put you in 6R.
What was that? I got the R. I didn't get the number.
6R. You are
Thank
up
you,
the
sir.
side of the embankment. Now, for the viewers, just to help you out to get an idea of what this situation is going to be looking like. So we have a tower here, and then there's a road that goes past the tower. And on both sides of the road is kind of an embankment. So it goes up, it's slanted like this, kind of. So you have the road here, and then it's slanted like that. So that's kind of what you're looking at. These people are at the top of the embankment on kind of a plateau, and Kaylin just ran up the embankment. Kaylin, that is your turn. All right, it's the knight's turn. He threw his sword, and he looks at his dagger, and he looks over at his sword longingly, and he backs up into square 18L. And he looks over. He's now standing between 2 dead bodies. And he looks over at both of the dead bodies of these guys in the red caps, and he goes, "Oh my gosh. Oh, there's so much blood." And then he holds his dagger, and he readies an action to like stab somebody with his dagger. And Lachlan, you've trained plenty with all kinds of weapons. He's not holding the dagger right, just so you know.
Even Kaylin knows he's not holding the dagger right.
Kaylin, you've practiced with the sword too. I mean, it's not
True.
like not in the same fashion Lachlan has, with formal tutors in a master's circle, but you've trained enough with your people to know his stance is wrong. He's holding the dagger wrong. He looks like the most he's ever done with a knife is maybe butter some bread. So, which ironically makes you worry for him. So,
thank you for that. I appreciate it.
If he's ever made butter, the kid's in trouble.
Who made this kid a knight?
Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe you want to ask him that later.
Okay. I'll make sure and ask him.
Okay, so now it is the Red Cap's turn. So he is trussed up like a Thanksgiving, or no, yeah. He's trussed up with all these weeds, and he looks up at Lachlan. He looks at you, and his eyes are fixed on you, and he goes, "Hey!" He goes, "Lady Waterford, they're priests. That one's a paladin of Sindel." Okay? And then he takes something off of his belt and smashes it into the floor. And Gizik, a cloud of dust goes up in a circle around him, 1 square. So that includes you.
1 square all the way around.
Yep, 1 square all the way around. A burst 1 centered on his square. Gizik, you are completely blinded. And that is what he does on his turn. Okay, and that's all that you know that he does on his turn. Back to the top. Gizik, it's your turn. Now, I will tell everyone, we are at 10:41. Would you guys like to keep going, or shall we stop here? I'm going to call it good for the night.
That's entirely up to you guys.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to stop.
All right, we're 10 minutes over. We were about 10 minutes late, so I think that's a great idea. All right, so we will stop right there. And luckily for us, we are at the top of our initiative. So we will pick it up at our very next session. And hopefully we will have a pretty vampire who doesn't sparkle, but despite how much we might want him to join us at our next session. So, all right, awesome.
Hold on. Are we skipping Consider This week?
Nope, we're doing Consider This. It is Ryan's turn for Consider This. Any announcements or anything like that other than our giveaway?
Not anything new.
Okay, that's good.
PAX, all 3 days. That's about it.
Yeah, what are the dates that you're going to be at PAX?
I'm going to be there a day early and a day later. So I'll be there. When does it start? November 30th? So I'll be there from like the 29th to like the 3rd.
Okay. All right, November 29th to December 3rd?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. So Jesse will be at PAX. So if you're going to be at PAX, go say hi to Jesse.
Come say hi.
Okay. Also, we have a giveaway that we're going to be doing when we get to 50 subscribers, either on YouTube or 50 subscribers on the subreddit. We will be giving away one of these fancy Holy Roller or generic dice cases, which are beautiful. Also, if you would like any of the products that are purchased on John Gaitan's website, he is offering a discount for those of you who are using the Holy Rollers coupon. So if you use the code Holy Rollers, all capital letters, all one word, Z at the end instead of S, you can get a 10% off coupon on the items for his website. Awesome. Jeffrey, can we get his website link up there in the chat or all on the white text or something so people can see? If that's possible.
Yeah, sure. I don't have it on me at the moment, though.
I will make sure to tweet it out as well. And
okay, good. We will tweet it out also, and we'll put it on the subreddit.
Put it on the Reddit and all that
we
good
can
stuff.
put it in the YouTube comments.
So yeah, so we have partnered. We've partnered with John Gaitan, and we are really excited to be able to offer that discount. The man does beautiful work. So, I would take advantage of this opportunity. It's a real good deal. So anyway, we will go ahead and get that information out, and we'll continue to announce that. Anyway, we will move on now to consider this. So Ryan has our finishing thought. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a short one, but I think it's a good one. It's a quote that I read a few years ago. It says, tolerance does not mean forcing someone to condone what they in good conscience cannot condone. Let me say that again. Tolerance does not mean forcing someone to condone what they in good conscience cannot condone. And I like that because I think that a lot today, there's a lot of talk about anybody who disagrees with me must be intolerant. And that it's not intolerant to embrace ideas that are against someone else's values or how they see. Nor should it be. It should be okay to say no, I disagree with that, or I find that wrong, and not be considered a bigot or or like cruel. And it doesn't mean that being intolerant of saying somebody's, I don't know, a bad person, or someone is like causing them harm because they disagree with this different story. That would be intolerance. But I think that sometimes tolerance can grow into, we start tolerant and then it grows into permissiveness, and then to accepting things that at one time we might have found completely repugnant to us to begin with. And that could be something as minor as language that might be debasing or vile, all the way to practices that are completely anathema to what we feel. So not a I don't have a good story to go with it or anything, but I think that's okay. Important. Yeah, I think that it's important that we can be tolerant without compromising our beliefs, and whatever those beliefs might be. We can have a conversation, but it doesn't make us a bigot to disagree.
Anybody have anything that they would like to add to that thought?
Well, if I can flip it, it's the whole, I can love you and not necessarily agree with all of the decisions that you make. And just because I don't agree with all of them doesn't mean that I don't still care about you as a friend or a family member or a colleague. And I think tolerance has kind of been warped to, well, if you don't follow my belief system 100% or 110%, then suddenly you are intolerant. And that's not necessarily true.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing that I think we're seeing too is that everybody thinks it's everyone else too. It's like, if you're on one side of the political spectrum, you think it's everybody on the other side. And if you're on the other side, you're like, well, it's all those other people, I think
Yeah.
I think the great part, or the greatest thing that we can all do this, is assume that we all have work to do there. Assume it's me rather than assuming it's right, and then try to do our best to understand and love each other despite our differences. So I think that's a great thought. Awesome. Okay. Anything anybody else has to say? Any other announcements? All right, we are done for the night then. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in with us. We will pick up next week in the middle of combat, which is always fun. And hopefully we'll be joined by a sparkly vampire or non-sparkly vampire. Our
family will be whole once more.
We raise a gummy frog in his honor. And until next time, we say to you, have a wonderful day. There are more of us than there are of them now. Geeks everywhere. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Take care.